When the blood moon rises, the cursed shall lead and the pure shall kneel. The howls of the broken will shake the heavens, and from the ashes of the weak, a true alpha shall be born. They called it a myth, a bedtime curse whispered to frighten young wolves. But those who have seen the sky bleed red know the prophecy is no fairy tale. Because under the blood moon, the moon that sees truth, power shifts, the strong crumble, the forgotten rise, and I was born cursed beneath it. I remember the night they said my blood was wrong. I was just a child, small, frail, too quiet for a wolf. While the others trained in the clearing, shifting under the full moon's blessing, I could only watch. Every time I tried, pain tore through me. My bones didn't crack like theirs. They burned, as if the moon itself rejected me. The elders said it was punishment, that the moon goddess marked me as impure. The omegas of the Silverclaw Pack were always looked down upon. But me? I was worse. Tainted, they called me. A mistake born of weak blood. They made me clean the dens, sleep outside when winter storms raged. I remember the sting of frost, the sound of laughter as snowballs hit my back. "You'll never shift, Luna," they'd jeer. "Even the moon won't look at you." They were right about one thing. The moon didn't look at me that night, but it watched, silently, patiently. I used to pray every night to the moon goddess, to make me stronger, to make me belong. But prayers are dangerous things. Sometimes the moon listens, and sometimes it answers with blood. Long before my pack was born, the first wolves were not children of the goddess. They were her shadows, beasts made from her sorrow. When the goddess wept, her tears fell into the river of stars, and those tears birthed us, creatures of instinct, half divine, half cursed. But one wolf, Lycanus, defied her. He drank the blood that dripped from her wound and gained power equal to hers. His descendants became the alphas, proud, dominant, pure. And those of us who were born after the Great Rebellion, the ones who never drank divine blood, we became the omegas, the weak, the servile. But prophecy says balance must always return. And when the moon turns crimson, the cursed blood, omega blood, will awaken, and the line of Lycanus will bow. I didn't know this when I was a child. I only knew pain. I only knew that my blood felt different, hot, alive, whispering things no one else could hear. Sometimes I heard voices when I looked at the moonlight reflecting on water, whispers saying, "Not yet, but soon." They told me of fire, of power sleeping beneath my skin, of the night when my tears would turn to flame. I thought I was going mad, until the dreams began. In my dreams, the world burned. The sky was red, wolves howled in agony, and I stood at the center, bathed in crimson light, watching every alpha fall to their knees. When I woke, my hands would be bleeding, the sheets scorched. The mark of the blood moon burned faintly on my wrist, a scar no healer could remove. The elders called it blasphemy. They tried to scrub it off until my skin tore. But it always came back. They said, "The blood moon does not touch omegas. If it marked you, then you are not one of us." That night, they locked me in the temple cellar, alone, with the moonlight pouring through the cracks in the roof. I was 8, and for the first time, I howled. I remember that sound. It wasn't human. It wasn't wolf. It was something in between, something wild, old, and broken. The next morning I woke to find my cell door open. The elders said it was a sign of mercy, but I knew better. It was a warning, because the moon doesn't show mercy, it chooses. Years passed. I grew up in silence, watching, listening, learning how cruelty tastes. They thought breaking me would make me obedient. But all it did was teach me what pain could build. Each insult became armor, each scar, a story. And deep down, something waited, something patient, something that whispered every time I looked at the moon. When the sky bleeds, they will kneel. The first time I saw the blood moon, I was 14. It rose like a wound in the sky, red and heavy, spilling light across the snow. Everyone in the pack gathered in fear. The alphas chanted prayers. The elders hid the children indoors. But I couldn't look away. The moment that light touched me, the mark on my wrist blazed like fire. I fell to my knees, screaming. My blood, my cursed blood, shimmered with crimson sparks. They dragged me away, shouting, "She's invoking the curse!" I tried to tell them I didn't mean to, that I was scared. But no one listened. They bound my hands. They called for purification. They said the blood moon sought me because I was unclean. I remember the elder's voice. If her blood answers to the moon, she is not wolf. She is witch. They poured cold water over me, whispering prayers to the goddess, begging her to take back whatever darkness I carried. The moon burned brighter, and then silence. Everything stopped. When I looked up, I saw my reflection in a pool of moonlight, and my eyes were glowing silver. That night, something in me changed. Something woke up. I could hear the heartbeats of everyone around me, fast, terrified. I could smell their fear. And somewhere inside, a voice laughed. A deep, ancient sound that wasn't mine. "Soon," it whispered. "Soon, little wolf. When the blood moon rises again, you won't kneel. They will." Years later, I would learn the truth. That the curse of the blood moon wasn't punishment. It was evolution. A rebirth of the forgotten. A calling for those who had suffered too long under false kings. But back then, I was just a girl, trembling, alone, and cursed by her own blood. They mocked me. They broke me. And they thought they had won. But the moon never forgets its chosen. And destiny never stops hunting its prey. So when you hear the prophecy, remember my name. When the blood moon rises, the cursed shall lead, and the pure shall kneel. I was the cursed child. I am the storm they feared. I am Luna, the last Omega of the Silverclaw Pack. And this is how I became their alpha. They said Omegas were born to serve, to bow, to obey, to be unseen. But from the moment Luna was born, nothing about her was ordinary. Her first cry echoed beneath a blood moon, a crimson sky that terrified the Silverclaw elders. That night, an ancient symbol flared briefly on her wrist, a crescent entwined with fire. It vanished before dawn, and her mother, trembling, hid it beneath wraps of cloth. The pack called her cursed. Her blood was too strange, too bright. Even as a child, when moonlight touched her skin, faint golden veins shimmered beneath the surface, as if her blood itself was alive. And in a world where strength meant everything, being different was a death sentence. The Silverclaw Pack was ruled by hierarchy sharper than any fang. Alphas commanded, betas served, omegas endured. Every morning, Luna woke before sunrise to fetch water from the frozen spring, her hands cracked and raw. While others trained, she scrubbed the floors of the great hall. When she made a mistake, they laughed. When she excelled, they ignored her. But she never broke, because deep inside her, where pain could not reach, something ancient whispered to her heart. Endure. The moon watches. Your time will come. At 19, Luna was small, slender, and quiet. The kind of girl people forgot existed until they needed someone to blame. Her silvery hair, rare among wolves, marked her out even more. The others said it was a sign of weakness. But the truth? It was a mark of lineage older than the pack itself. She just didn't know it yet. That evening, the Silverclaw village buzzed with excitement. Torches lined the ceremonial clearing. The full moon loomed high, pale and perfect. It was the night of the moon ceremony, when every young wolf of age discovered their fated mate. A sacred night, a night of bonds and destiny. The alphas said the moon chose perfectly. The betas believed the moon never lied. The omegas? They prayed not to be forgotten. Luna stood at the edge of the gathering, clutching the simple cloak that hid her trembling hands. Her heart pounded so hard she could barely breathe. All around her, girls giggled nervously. Boys straightened their uniforms, hopeful and proud. She could feel their glances, the mocking smirks, the whispered bets. Who'd be cursed with her? No alpha would ever accept an omega. Maybe she'll stay unmated forever. She forced herself not to react. She had survived worse, but inside her stomach twisted, because no matter how much she told herself she didn't care, she did. Then came Damon, the future alpha, tall, commanding. Power rolled off him like heat. His dark hair caught the firelight, and his silver eyes gleamed with confidence born from generations of dominance. When he stepped forward, the crowd quieted. He was everything an alpha should be: proud, cruel, magnificent. And when his gaze brushed hers, her breath caught, not in fear, but recognition. The world seemed to hold its breath. The moon priestess lifted her hands. "The bonds of the moon will reveal themselves tonight," she intoned. "Step forward, children of Silverclaw. Let the moon decide your fate." One by one, pairs formed as threads of silver light connected mates chosen by destiny. Joyful gasps, happy tears, the air shimmered with magic, until Luna's turn came. She stepped into the circle, heart hammering. The priestess motioned for her to lift her head. "Child, the moon sees you. Do not hide." Moonlight bathed her in silver fire. Gasps rippled through the crowd. And then, it happened. A thread of red gold light burst from her chest, cutting across the circle, and landed on Damon. The crowd froze. The glow between them pulsed like a living thing. Fate had spoken. Luna's eyes filled with tears. She could hardly breathe. "Damon!" But the future alpha stepped back, his face hardening, his jaw tightening. "No." The word cracked like a whip through the silence. "No," he said again, louder. "This has to be wrong. I will not be mated to—" He gestured toward her, sneering. "A weak omega mistake." Laughter erupted around them, cruel, echoing, merciless. Luna's heart shattered in her chest. She tried to speak, but the words burned in her throat. The moon priestess stepped forward, her face grave. "The moon does not err, young alpha. You are bound by its will." "Then the moon is wrong," Damon growled, his voice low, dangerous. "I reject her." And with those words, the bond snapped. Luna felt it physically, like claws raking through her soul. A scream tore from her lips, silent but agonizing. Her knees buckled. The red gold thread dissolved into smoke. The crowd cheered his defiance. The Omegas watched in pity. The Alphas nodded in approval, but above them the moon flickered. For just a heartbeat, it glowed crimson. No one noticed, except Luna. She staggered to her feet, tears blurring her vision. Damon turned away as if she were dust beneath his boots. Her voice was barely a whisper, but it carried through the still air like prophecy. "You'll regret this." Her silver eyes lifted toward the moon, now faintly red. "When the blood moon rises." That night she ran into the woods, the sound of laughter chasing her like wolves. Her cloak snagged on branches, her feet bled on the stones. But she didn't stop. The forest was her only refuge. And as she collapsed by the riverbank, her reflection shimmered, her blood faintly glowing beneath her skin, the same light from the prophecy. "When the blood moon rises, the cursed shall lead, and the pure shall kneel." The words of old echoed in her mind like the voice of fate. And beneath that red-tinged moon, for the first time in her life, Luna stopped crying. Her pain turned to fire. Her fear turned to rage. And deep within her, something ancient stirred, something that had slept for centuries, a power older than the Silverclaw name. The Moonfire had chosen her, and though no one knew it yet, The rejected Omega was about to become the Alpha their legends feared most. They called it justice. But justice in the Silverclaw Pack has always worn the face of cruelty. The morning after the moon ceremony, Luna stood before the council, her wrists bound, her head bowed, the last tears dried on her cheeks. The courtyard was filled with wolves, alphas watching with cold pride, betas with uneasy silence, and omegas with quiet fear. The elders sat high upon their stone seats, cloaked in authority and tradition. Luna of the Omega line, the eldest elder intoned, his voice echoing off the frost-bitten stones, "You have defied the order of the moon." She lifted her gaze, trembling. "I did nothing wrong." A ripple of murmurs moved through the crowd. The elder slammed his staff down, the ground vibrating with power. "You spoke against the Alpha heir," he hissed. "You dared to curse him before the moon itself." Luna's heart pounded. "I didn't curse him. I only spoke the truth." From the shadows, Damon stepped forward. His expression was unreadable, cool, emotionless. "Her presence is a stain," he said. "The pack will never prosper while she remains." Luna turned toward him, her voice barely a whisper. You'd cast me out for your pride?" "For my pack," he said coldly. And just like that, her fate was sealed. They stripped her of her title, her home, her right to belong. And Omega had little to begin with, but exile took even the scraps. When the guards opened the gates, the world beyond looked like a graveyard of mist. The cursed woods, the one place no wolf dared enter. The trees were said to move when no wind blew. The ground drank blood. They said even the moon turned its face away from those who entered. As the gates slammed shut behind her, Luna didn't cry. Not this time. Because what more could they take? She walked barefoot into the wild. Each step tore at her soles, but she didn't slow. The laughter of the pack still echoed in her skull, a ghost she couldn't silence. Weak Omega mistake. Cursed blood. Unworthy. Each word became a spark inside her chest, fuel for something she didn't yet understand. The forest swallowed her whole. Mist hung thick between the twisted trees. The air reeked of iron and ash. At first, she heard nothing but her own breathing. Then came the whispers. Faint, eerie, too close to be the wind. "Daughter of the moonfire. You bleed where the first wolves fell. Do you remember us?" Luna spun, her pulse racing. "Who's there?" Silence. Then, another whisper, softer this time, almost kind. "We remember you." She stumbled backward, tripping over roots, her hand scraping against a jagged stone. Blood welled, bright and red. It dripped onto the forest floor and the earth shivered. A sudden gust of wind swirled around her, carrying faint howls. The air grew warmer. Her blood glowed faintly on the ground, pulsing like liquid fire. "You carry the mark. The moon sees you still. Let us in." The voices came from everywhere and nowhere. Luna pressed her palms to her ears. "Leave me alone." But the forest didn't listen. A cold hand, no, a shadow shaped like one, brushed her shoulder. She screamed and fell to her knees. Her vision blurred, and in that blur, she saw them. Dozens of faint figures, wolves made of silver smoke surrounding her. Their eyes glowed with sorrow and pride. These were the ancient ones, the fallen spirits of wolves who had defied their packs and died beneath the blood moon. One stepped forward, its voice deeper, resonating through her chest. "Child of the rejected line, you are one of us." "I'm nothing," she choked. "I'm no alpha. I'm not even a wolf they want." The spirit's form flickered, its gaze piercing through her. "And yet the moon burns for you." Her blood began to heat again, that same unbearable warmth she'd felt after the ceremony. Her vision filled with red light, the faint glow of a rising blood moon through the mist. She clutched her chest, gasping. "What's happening to me?" "The awakening," whispered the spirits. "The moon does not pity the broken. It reforges them." She collapsed. The pain was blinding, molten. It started in her veins. Her blood turned to fire, racing through her body with each heartbeat. Her bones ached, as if they were being reshaped. Her breath came in ragged bursts, steam rising from her skin. The forest seemed to watch in silence. The very air pulsed with power. Her scream echoed through the valley, a sound no human, no wolf had ever made. It was ancient, wild, untamed. And then, silence. When she opened her eyes, the world looked different, sharper, alive. She could hear the heartbeat of the forest, feel the pulse of every living thing. Her senses burned with clarity. And her reflection, mirrored in a pool of moonlit water, made her heart stop. Her eyes were no longer the soft gray of before. They blazed gold and silver, like twin moons. Her hair shimmered faintly under the light, and her veins glowed faintly with red fire. The mark on her wrist had returned, brighter than ever. "You are no longer bound by them," the spirits whispered. "You are bound by the moon." Tears filled her eyes, not of pain this time, but of awe. She whispered to the dark sky, voice trembling, "Why me?" And for a moment, the blood moon seemed to answer, "Because they feared what you could become." When she rose to her feet, the forest parted for her. The mist curled back, revealing a path she hadn't seen before, a trail glowing faintly red beneath the moonlight. She walked it, step by step, her bare feet leaving glowing prints behind. The whispers followed, softer now, almost reverent. She rises. The cursed made chosen. The Alpha reborn. As dawn broke, Luna stood at the edge of a cliff overlooking her old world, the village of Silverclaw in the distance, sleeping under its false peace. Her body still trembled from the transformation, but her heart, it was calm. For the first time in her life, she didn't feel weak. She felt right, and in the cold, red light of morning, she whispered, "That night, the moon found me, and it did not pity me." Her eyes glowed like burning stars. "It remade me." They said no wolf could survive the blood moon's curse, that those who tried lost their minds, or their souls. But the night the blood moon rose again, Luna did not die. She changed. The crimson light washed over the forest like a living tide, bleeding through every branch and shadow. The air shimmered, alive with unseen energy. Luna knelt at the cliff's edge, her breath trembling. Her body burned from the inside out, fire in her veins, thunder in her chest. Every heartbeat felt like a drum calling her name, echoing not from her own lips, but from the sky itself. "Luna." The whisper was soft, ancient, and filled with awe. "Luna of the red moon." She gasped, clutching her chest. Her skin glowed faintly, veins pulsing with molten silver. The world around her bent and swayed, every leaf, every gust of wind, every pulse of the earth sinking with her heart. And then she screamed. Not in pain, but in release. Her body arched as the transformation took hold. Her eyes blazed silver white, reflecting the moon's fury. Her nails lengthened into claws tipped with flame. Her hair rippled like liquid silver, alive with red light. The blood moon pulsed in the sky, and her heart pulsed in rhythm. 2 beats, 1 soul. "Rise, Luna of the red moon," whispered the spirits, their voices layered, echoing through her mind. "The first true Alpha, the one who kneels to none." Luna's breath came heavy, her vision burning with light and shadow. She looked around, and the forest itself responded. The shadows moved when she did. The air bent to her will. Every heartbeat in the forest, every rabbit, every owl, every wolf in the distant pack, she felt them. She wasn't merely alive. She was connected. A sudden voice cut through the symphony. Deep, resonant, unlike the others. It carried the weight of ages, older than the forest, older than the moon. "You feel it, don't you?" Luna turned, searching the darkness. "Who's there?" The forest went still, and from the mist, A figure emerged, tall, half-shrouded in smoke and silver flame. A man, or something like one. His eyes glowed like molten gold. His voice was soft but commanding, every word vibrating in her bones. "Do not fear me, Luna of the Red Moon. I am the one they call the Spirit Alpha." Luna's heartbeat stuttered. The first Alpha. The first who defied the moon. The first who was broken by it. He stepped closer, the air around him humming with power. "Your blood burns because it carries both curse and blessing. The moonfire within you is not meant to be tamed. It must be chosen." She swallowed hard. Chosen for what? To lead, or to destroy, to free your kind, or end them all. His words struck like thunder. Luna shook her head. "I don't want destruction, I only want justice." The Spirit Alpha tilted his head, watching her. "Justice is a blade that cuts both ways." She turned away, her claws still faintly glowing. Below the cliff, the village lights of Silverclaw flickered faintly. So close, yet so far. She could sense them. Every heartbeat. Damon's among them, steady, confident, ignorant of the storm he had created. Her eyes darkened. "They cast me out, laughed at me, called me nothing." The Spirit Alpha's voice softened. "And now they will kneel. That is your destiny." Luna's breath hitched. The idea felt intoxicating. Right. She could already imagine it. Damon's face twisted in disbelief, the elders on their knees, the pack that mocked her howling her name. Her claws tightened. "Yes, I'll make them remember." But the Spirit Alpha's tone turned grave. "Power without mercy will destroy you too." The blood moon dimmed slightly as if his words reached even it. Luna turned, eyes blazing. "They showed me no mercy. And you would become them?" The question silenced her. For a long moment neither spoke. The wind howled softly between them. The forest seemed to breathe. Then gently, the Spirit Alpha stepped closer. His form flickered like mist and light. "You were not born to follow their path. You were born to break it. But remember this, Luna. The moon gives power, and watches how you use it." He extended his hand. When she took it, visions erupted behind her eyes. Flashes of ancient battles, wolves bathed in red flame, a woman crowned in silver fire standing above a field of fallen kings. It was her, the Luna of prophecy. She pulled her hand back, gasping. The Spirit Alpha smiled faintly. "The blood moon awakens, and so do you. But your journey is not vengeance alone. It is balance." His form began to fade, the wind scattering his image like smoke. "Seek the Temple of Shadows, beyond the River of Ash. There your destiny awaits." And then he was gone. Luna stood alone once more. The wind brushed her hair. The moonlight burned softly against her skin. She looked down at her reflection in the stream, eyes blazing, Mark glowing like a living flame. The old Luna, the frightened Omega, was gone. What remained was something the pack had never seen before, something the world had forgotten to fear. She whispered into the night, her voice steady, resolute. "They wanted a monster. I'll give them one." The blood moon flared behind her, casting her shadow across the valley, vast, fierce, unbowed. And as her howl tore through the night sky, the entire forest trembled. For the first time in 1,000 years, the Red Moon Alpha had risen. They thought I was gone, that the forest had swallowed me whole, the weak Omega girl who didn't know when to kneel. But they forgot. Wolves don't stay buried beneath the roots forever. The Silverclaw border shimmered under a dying twilight. Mist coiled around the ancient stones that marked the edge of Packlands, stones older than the Alpha line itself. The woods whispered her return before the sentries ever saw her. Luna stepped from the fog, her cloak torn, her eyes no longer the soft gray of submission, but liquid silver streaked with faint veins of crimson. The mark of the blood moon pulsed faintly beneath her skin, glowing each time her heart beat. The two guards froze. They smelled something. Power. But it was wrong. Unfamiliar. Not alpha. Not beta. Something older. Wilder. Guard, shaking. Who goes there? She didn't answer. Her voice carried in the wind, low and ethereal. Luna. You don't recognize your own kind? The wolves stumbled backward, throats tightening. Their instincts screamed to drop to their knees. It wasn't command. It was pull. A primal force embedded in the air, forcing submission. In the past, I would have apologized, bowed, lowered my head until my neck ached. But the blood moon burned that weakness away. Her boots touched the old boundary. Every step sent faint ripples of silver light through the soil, the spirits of the cursed wolves following her like a ghostly pack. Inside the Silverclaw village, torches burned bright against the encroaching dusk. The Alpha's hall glowed with golden light, laughter spilling out, the pack celebrating another successful hunt. Damon sat at the head of the table, his jaw sharp, his confidence unshaken, until the door creaked open. A cold gust blew through, snuffing out half the candles. The scent hit them first. Not the scent of an omega, but something heavier. Iron, smoke, moonfire. Every wolf in the hall turned. The moment their eyes found her, silence fell like a blade. Luna stepped inside. Her presence filled the room like a storm about to break. The same wolves who once mocked her, who had thrown stones at her den, now stared with wide, unblinking eyes. Their wolves stirred within them, confused, afraid. One beta rose, ready to shout. "How dare you?" He never finished. His knees hit the ground. His chest heaved as his wolf inside bowed, not to choice, but to instinct. What is she? She smells like the alpha line, no stronger. Impossible. I didn't come for forgiveness. I came to remember the look on their faces, the moment pride turned to fear. Damon's chair scraped the floor. His eyes locked on her. Confusion, anger, and something else. The bond that once burned between them, faint but undeniable, flickered again. It shouldn't have. He had rejected her. That bond was supposed to be dead. But now, it was him who couldn't breathe. "Luna?" His voice was a whisper, like he'd spoken a ghost's name. She tilted her head. "You remember me?" He clenched his fists. "You shouldn't be here. You're—" "What?" she interrupted, stepping closer. "An omega? A mistake?" He faltered. His wolf whimpered, in front of her. The other pack members shifted uncomfortably, their instincts battling their reason. Luna's shadow stretched long across the floor, merging with the others until the torches flickered blue. They mocked my blood, laughed at my scars, but the blood moon has a way of rewriting fates, one howl at a time. She turned to the pack, her eyes glowing with the reflection of the torches. "I'm not here to beg," she said softly. "I'm here to see which of you still has a soul worth saving." A low rumble swept through the hall, not thunder, but wolves growling, their instincts confused by her scent. Alpha Damon's beta, Mason, stepped forward, trembling. "My alpha, he stammered, but then his body shuddered violently. His eyes rolled back. He dropped to his knees, panting, his wolf forcing him into submission before Luna. Damon's heart stopped cold. His wolf, too, felt the pull, that deep, primal need to kneel. He fought it with everything inside him, veins bulging, teeth grinding. Luna looked down at Mason, then lifted her gaze to Damon. Luna, coldly, "It begins." The air crackled with power. The blood moon, hidden behind clouds, pulsed faintly above the forest under answering her presence. When the blood moon rises again, the world will remember what the word Omega truly means. Not weak, not forgotten, but the storm that devours kings. The Alpha Hall trembled. Every wolf felt it, the old spirits stirring beneath the earth, the same ones that had whispered to her in exile. Damon tried to speak, but his voice broke. "What have you become?" Luna's lips curved into a faint, haunting smile. "What you were too afraid to be." Outside, the howls began. Wolves across the territory, even those miles away, felt the surge, their instincts pulling them toward the source of dominance that no alpha blood could match. The guards at the gate fell to their knees, bowing instinctively to the forest. The night shimmered red for a moment as the blood moon's reflection bled across the sky. They called me weak. They called me cursed. But tonight, even the moon bows for me. The screen, or scene, fades to black, her silver eyes glowing faintly through the darkness as the next howl rises. They say an alpha's pride burns brighter than the sun, but even suns fade when the blood moon rises. The Silverclaw clearing was silent, too silent. Wolves circled the old battleground, their eyes glowing faintly gold under the moonlight. The earth there still bore scars from ancient duels, claw marks, shattered stones, a history of blood and hierarchy carved into dirt. At the center stood Damon, the future alpha. His broad shoulders were tense, his jaw locked, golden eyes reflecting fury and disbelief. Across from him stood Luna, cloaked in silver mist, the faint glow of the blood moon haloing her hair like fire. The pack formed a ring around them. No one dared breathe too loud. The hierarchy was about to shift, and every wolf could feel it. You shouldn't have come back. Whatever trick you used to make them bow, I'll end it tonight. Luna's expression didn't change. Her voice was calm, cutting through the night like a blade through ice. End it? You already did, remember? The night you called me a mistake. Her words stung more than claws. Damon's wolf snarled within, restless, not from anger alone, but confusion. His instincts warred with his pride. His wolf wanted to submit, his human refused. He lunged first, claws flashing, eyes burning. But Luna moved like moonlight, quiet, fluid, impossible to catch. His strike tore through mist. She reappeared behind him, her hand grazing his shoulder. The touch burned, faint crimson fire licking at his skin. He staggered back, panting. What are you? She stepped closer, her silver eyes gleaming. Something the moon made when it grew tired of kings. I didn't want this, but every destiny demands a battlefield, and every curse demands a witness. They circled each other. Sparks of power danced between their feet, the earth cracking beneath each step. The air thickened, the moon pulsing brighter above them. Damon roared, his wolf half bursting through. His form shifted, bones cracking, fur ripping through skin, claws gleaming like steel. His massive black wolf form towered over her. The pack howled, instinctively taking a step back. But Luna didn't shift. She stood there, small, fragile-looking, until the wind shifted, carrying her scent. It was ancient, powerful, wrong. The blood moon responded. Crimson light spilled down like liquid fire. The shadows trembled. Her body arched, her breath catching. Then, silver flames erupted from her back, forming the shape of an ethereal wolf spirit towering behind her, the blood moon wolf. Its eyes blazed red. Its growl shook the trees. Damon's wolf hesitated, then lunged, unable to resist the instinct to dominate. They clashed. Fangs met fire, claws met shadow. Sparks exploded like meteor trails. Every strike Damon landed dissolved into smoke. Every time Luna touched him, the ground burned red hot beneath his paws. The forest echoed with snarls and screams. Trees bent from the energy pulsing through them. Finally, Luna caught him mid-lunge. Her hand, human again, gripped his throat, lifting him with impossible strength. Her silver eyes glowed with the moon's fire. Still think I'm beneath you? Damon's wolf gasped, claws scraping uselessly at her arm. She could have ended him. The power begged her to, but she didn't. She dropped him to the ground, and he collapsed, panting, shifting back to his human form. His knees dug into the dirt as he struggled to meet her gaze. His wolf whimpered. Luna. The moon doesn't choose the loudest roar. It chooses the one who listens. The pack, stunned, slowly began to kneel. one by one. First the betas, then the sentries, then even the elders who had called her tainted. The sound of knees hitting soil echoed like thunder. Damon's eyes widened as his own wolf, broken and trembling, bowed its head too. He gritted his teeth, tears cutting through the dirt on his face. Luna stepped close, her voice low and dangerous. You mocked my blood. You called me weak, but tell me now, Damon, who leads your heart when even your wolf kneels before mine? He looked up, pain and admiration warring in his eyes. Luna, you... She silenced him with a glance. Her power rippled outward, and the blood moon responded, a crimson beam piercing the clouds, bathing the forest in red light. The moon decides who leads, and tonight, it chose me. The flames died. The mist faded, but the scent of moonfire lingered, raw, ancient, final. Luna turned away from the kneeling pack. Her cloak fluttered behind her like a trail of burning starlight. For the first time in Silverclaw history, the Omega had become Alpha, not by bloodline, not by birth, but by the will of the moon itself. I am no longer the girl they mocked, no longer the mistake they named me. I am the storm that rose from the ashes of their cruelty, and I will lead them, whether they fear me or follow me. The camera, or narration, pans upward, the blood moon burning bright, her shadow long and powerful beneath it. When the blood moon rises again, the world will remember my name. When the blood moon finally set, it took the world I knew with it. The weak Omega was gone. In her place stood something the moon itself had forged, a creature of flame, shadow, and will. The forest stretched beneath her like an endless ocean of mist. Pines swayed in slow rhythm, whispering secrets only the moon could hear. At the very edge of the Silverclaw cliffs, Luna stood alone, cloak billowing, hair tangled with streaks of crimson light that pulsed faintly like embers. The air still hummed with what she had done. The challenge, the kneeling, the silence that followed when power changed hands. Below her, the pack waited, hundreds of wolves scattered like stars across the clearing, heads bowed in submission. Their howls no longer sang of Damon, no longer praised his bloodline. Tonight, they howled her name. It wasn't victory I wanted. It was freedom, but freedom has teeth, and they bite both ways. Her gaze swept across the valley, the dens, the old Alpha Hall still glowing faintly from the remnants of red fire, the broken statues of past kings. She had shattered the chains of tradition, but every broken chain leaves a scar. A familiar presence lingered at the back of the crowd. Damon stood there, his expression unreadable. Not anger, not defiance, just silence, the kind that comes from watching the truth reshape everything you believed. His golden eyes lifted to her. There was no hatred in them now. Only surrender, the kind not forced by dominance but born from understanding. Luna met his gaze. The bond between them flickered faintly, the same bond he had rejected, now pulsing with life again, faint but undeniable. She could feel his heart. He could feel her power. Neither spoke. But in that silence, a promise was made, and a past was buried. I thought revenge would taste sweet, but standing here above the ashes of what I destroyed, it only tastes like silence. The blood moon hung low on the horizon, fading from crimson to silver. The fire that had once burned in her veins began to cool, not gone, but balanced, steady. The red moon wolf, her spirit companion, appeared faintly behind her, massive, spectral, with eyes like burning stars. It nuzzled her shoulder before fading into mist. She whispered, "Thank you." The wind carried her words into the trees where spirits of old Omegas whispered in response, voices of those who had suffered before her. Now they were free too. From the tree line, shapes began to emerge. Rogues, wolves with scarred bodies and haunted eyes, outcasts from other packs, drawn by the call of the blood moon. They approached slowly, their heads bowed, Luna turned toward them. "You've wandered long enough," she said softly. "If you seek a home, stand with me." One by one they knelt. Some cried, some howled. Long, aching sounds that rose like a chorus of redemption. The Silverclaw wolves watched, astonished, as their alpha accepted the broken and the banished, the very ones their ancestors had hunted. In that moment, Luna's pack stopped being a hierarchy. It became a kingdom. I learned that strength isn't measured by bloodlines or scars. It's measured by how many you can lift when the world has crushed them. Her voice carried softly over the crowd. "No more Omegas," she said. "No more chains. No more fear." The wolves bowed lower, a unified movement that rippled through the clearing like a wave of respect. Even Damon, the former alpha, lowered his head, not because he was forced to, but because he chose to. The blood moon finally sank behind the mountains, leaving a thin line of dawn. The world began to breathe again. The air felt new, reborn. Luna raised her face toward the faint light of morning. Her eyes shimmered, silver and red swirling together like fire and frost. "The moon made me its weapon, but dawn made me its promise." She turned back to her pack, her silhouette framed by the rising sun, the forest, the mist, the wolves, all bathed in that golden red glow. And for the first time since her exile, Luna smiled, not the smile of victory, but of peace. Down below, young wolves began to chant her name, slowly at first, then louder. "Luna! Luna! Luna!" The sound echoed through the valley, rising like a heartbeat to the heavens. Every wolf howled in unison. Every tree trembled. Even the wind seemed to bow. They mocked my Omega blood. They said I was born to crawl. But blood remembers, and the moon never forgets. She stepped forward to the cliff's edge, spreading her arms slightly. The power within her pulsed, not wild and raging like before, but steady and sure. This was not the rage of vengeance anymore. This was leadership. Behind her, Damon's voice broke the silence, low, sincere. "My alpha," he said softly. The words struck deeper than any wound. Not mockery, not sarcasm. Truth. Luna didn't turn around. She didn't need to. "No, our alpha." Her voice was calm, but it carried the weight of generations. It was the sound of a new beginning. The wind shifted. The forest whispered. And somewhere in the distance, the spirits of fallen wolves howled, not in pain this time, but pride. The blood moon rose to test us. It broke the chains of the old world, and from its fire, a new one was born. She looked once more at the dawn, at the endless horizon beyond her pack. A storm brewed far away, the sign of other packs stirring, hearing of the Omega who had become Alpha. This is not the end. It is the beginning of something greater. The moon gave me its curse, and I made it my crown. The screen, or image, fades to darkness. Only her voice remains, soft, haunting, resolute. They mocked my Omega blood until the blood moon made me their Alpha.